Alright shippers, let's discuss a potential dilemma. So you have an OTP, and you love them, but all of a sudden this new character comes along. And you know what? They'd be pretty great for one or both of the characters in your OTP. What do you do? Well, you can agonize over where your loyalty lies, or you can take a route that is rapidly becoming more popular, that of the OT3. All of your favorite characters together. This is Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy, and it's time to dive into a world of shipping Steve Rogers with Bucky Barnes and Tony Stark. In a ship that doesn't really have a settled on name, I've been hearing Stuck Tony, not the best name. Let's try and coin a better one. Winter Iron Soldier. Stark Iron Winter. Winter Star Iron. I don't know if any of those are any better. Well, whatever you call them, this pairing can be a way to survive the feels of Civil War. We've covered both Stucky and Stony on this channel before, but never Winter Iron. So let's briefly catch up on all three. Stucky is the pairing of Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, with Steve Rogers as Captain America. The two bond over their shared past friendship, partnership, and the need to reconnect post Bucky's traumatizing experiences as the Winter Soldier. They both know each other intimately and are determined to stick by each other no matter what. Huge potential for both angst and fluff. Stony is the pairing of Iron Man Tony Stark and Captain America Steve Rogers. These two have vastly different relationships in the comic and film verse. Comic verse, besties for life. Film verse, frenemies, rivals bordering on antagonists, snark buddies if you're being generous. These two share important responsibilities in the Avengers and have a history of helping each other through difficult moments. Their opposing personalities can serve as complementary or as a source for some great smut-ridden angst. Lastly, Winter Iron. This one is the newest, given the recent introduction of the Winter Soldier into canon, in both the comic and the film verse. These two have a much more drama-ridden road to cross to become close, but they actually share a similar history with trauma and could help each other through those struggles. Plus, arm tinkering because of Tony's science skills. Who else is gonna fix Bucky's arm from whatever damage you, the writer, choose to inflict upon it? I'll do a full up on these two soon, but gotta finish SDL shippable moments first though. It's coming. But you know what happened to me? Yeah, now I'm never gonna emerge from this cave of shipping so many ships. Captain Swan. So all of these pairings have their appeal, but for people who enjoy all these characters, they may not wish to see them come into conflict with each other, which can be seen as a narrative inevitability if we stick with canon relations, i.e. Steve with Bucky could totally alienate Tony, or vice versa. However, there is a newish attitude emerging of why should they have to choose? They can all be together, and all these issues can be worked through together. When such a deal is struck, an OT3 is born. So an OT3 is like an OTP, which is one true pairing. But instead of involving two characters, it involves three. It functions using the rules of polyamory. Polyamory is defined as the philosophy or state of being in love or romantically involved with more than one person at the same time. This allows the characters to share in an equal relationship, making this different from a love triangle, in of which one character is being wooed / trying to decide between two other characters, creating a who will win scenario. In OT3s, all the characters are already together, and jealousy, while it can be part of the narrative, tends not to be the defining drive. The OT3 can be a place for issues that would normally cause jealousy or drama to instead be the building blocks for a relationship, i.e. Steve being in love with Tony and Bucky at the same time for vastly different reasons that take nothing away from either of them as people, and trying to figure out what to do only to discover that they can all be together. OT3s are nice because they can avoid the character bashing that can happen when trying to justify a certain relationship. This attempt at justification can sometimes result in overcompensation. Steve would never be with Tony because he's the worst and spent all the Avengers funds on robotic kittens and champagne. Essentially, it's Ron the Death Eater syndrome. Ron the Death Eater being a phenomenon where in order to justify, say, a budding friendship with Draco, the author needs to get Ron out of the way, because based on canon plausibility, it's unlikely that Ron would be down with such a friendship. So how do you remove him? Well, in order to accomplish this, one of the ways is to make Ron a mega jerk. A super jerk. a Death Eater. There's nothing wrong with this if it comes from a genuine place and the creator of a work genuinely feels that said character is awful, but OT3s can be a nice alternative for those who just find themselves loving all three characters. Also, for those who are curious, it is a nice introduction to the idea of polyamory, which not everybody has encountered. For these three, they have the potential to work well broken off into couples and all together. Each has a special ability that could work to smooth out the edges of the other. I'm a sucker for Tony trying to reunite Bucky and Steve, only to discover that both have fallen in love with him in the process. Another scenario, Bucky comes to Tony since he isn't ready to face Steve yet, and they bond while both are secretly in love with Steve. And here's yet another one. Tony helps the two of them acclimate to the modern world. I can't contain all the feels for this couple. So why would you not ship this? Well, some are uncomfortable with the idea of polyamory and feel that naturally some jealousy would arise no matter how good the intention, or feel it's an easy way to avoid making a choice. Others may feel that some part of the couple is just fundamentally flawed and would never be able to get along. Still, this is currently, at the time of this recording at least, a growing ship. So for those out there who had their hearts broken by Civil War, fear not, your fix-its are on the way. Your three potentially favorite men will suffer no more, unless you want them to. Do you guys have any OT3s? What are they? Share all down below. How did you like Civil War? Are you broken? Was it all you dreamed? Or are you kinda meh? This was Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check out social media to stay up to date and stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.